It's now time for mic check, and this morning our very, very special guest, Anthony, is ready to go in the background. As a matter of fact, do you think he's gentleman's father, Anthony?
Well, it's funny, sir.
Do you think he's gentleman's father? This man once lived in Germany for a very, very long time. So go ahead and you do the honors, Mr. Turner. Introduce my special guest this morning.
Well, with over 50 years in the music business, our very special guest on mic check, we're talking about singer Tony Gregory. He's definitely here to stay. And in fact, in 1982, when he recorded a demo of Gypsy Girl, little did he know the impact it would have on music lovers worldwide. And today it has become his signature hit song that must be performed every time he hit the stage. And over the years, Tony Gregory has written and performed many beautiful love songs, including Baby Come On Home, and of course, You Are Mine, a duet he recorded with reggae queen Marcia Griffiths. And to chronicle Tony Gregory's career over the years, we start from where it all began. In 1954, when he was admitted to the famous Alpha Boy School in Jamaica. Then in 1957, he of course won first prize on Veer John's Opportunity Hour. 1958, he turned a professional singer. In 1960, he joined the Baron Lee and the Dragonaires band as lead singer. From 1961 to 63, he released the very first single with the title Baby. During this time, he performed with the likes of the Drifters, Dionne Warwick, Ray Charles, Sammy Davis Jr., Sam Cooke, and a host of others. In 1964, he started to record for Studio One and released the big hit Baby Come On Home. He also released Your Mind with reggae queen Marcia Griffiths. From 65 to 66, his big hit Only a Fool, Break His Own Heart, was released and became an instant hit. In 1966, he left Jamaica for the US and Canada, doing cabaret shows in clubs and big venues. In 1968, he of course toured the UK for the very first time. He also released his first album, Tony Gregory Sings. In 1972, he moved to Germany. This may have been when Gentleman was conceived. In 1973 to 1975, he released his first million-selling single, He also released his second album, One More Time. He also did his first world tour during this time. And in 1982, he released the album Now with Gypsy Girl and It's All Right With Me, which both became international hit singles. In 1996, he released an album with Boris Gardner titled Steppin' Out, with hits What's Your Name and Steppin' Out. In 2000, he moved back to Jamaica. Then in 2006, he started performing and writing again. In 2012, he received the Order of Distinction, this from the government of Jamaica, for his 50-year contribution to development of Jamaica's music. And in 2014, he released a new album titled Seasons, this for VP Records. So there you have it, our very special guest on mic check today, singer Tony Gregory.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we don't want to spread any rumors, but you just never know. This man lived in Germany for many, many years. I want to know the relationship with Mr. Gregory and Gentleman. This one is called Gypsy Girl.
Gypsy,
that's right.
You turn on my love light, and whatever you want,
Bomb drop.
Tonight is the night.
Oh my gosh.
Gypsy,
Pull up the tune. Pull up the tune.
Fashion over style.
No, that's who the band.
Yes, it is.
That's who the band.
Yes, it is.
That's who the band.
Yes, it is.
my love light, and whatever you want now, tonight is the night.
So let me do this, ladies and gentlemen. You saw him for the first time, many of you, on Groovin' in the Park 2014, celebrating with his very good friend Marcia Griffiths, who was celebrating 50 years in the music. But Anthony, you just educate me to something this morning, that Mr. Tony Gregory is also celebrating over 50 years in the music business. Good morning, Mr. Gregory.
Good morning.
How are you this morning, sir?
Fine.
You
Morning,
good?
Mr. Gregory. How is it in
the
Jamaica?
sunshine, sitting here. I know you guys are a little bit feeling cooler up there.
No, Mr. Gregory. Let me just put a stop to that right now. From where I am sitting right now, the sun is shining. Breadman, it's about 72 degrees on the outside. These Jamaicans that live in Jamaica, Breadman, have a tendency of rubbing that sunshine in our face, but we have sun here in the tri-state area. So let me stop it right there, Mr. Gregory.
Oh, okay, that's lovely. I'm glad that you're having a nice day and that the weather is good.
Well, one more
Just
thing.
like Jamaica.
Yes, sir. One more thing we want to clear up. Last week, our very special guest on Mic Check was a German reggae superstar by the name of Gentleman. You know that man?
Yes, I know him, yes.
Okay. No, many have it to say that he looks like you. No, let's clear
Really?
let's clear the here. That's not your son, right?
No way.
Well, Mr. Tony Gregory, welcome to Mic Check. You're making your second appearance on this program. I remember when we did Grooving in the Park 2014, you were celebrating with your very good friend Marcia Griffiths. As a matter of fact, there is a song that I have lined up. It's called You Are Mine that you did with Marcia Griffiths back then. But take us back,
Yeah.
Tony Gregory. Take us back and take us through the journey of a Tony Gregory, because you're not the typical Jamaica reggae singer. You are indeed a world-renowned... Anthony, when you listen to Mr. Gregory, you don't believe that he's a Jamaican. That's number one. That's number one. But yes, he is, ladies and gentlemen. Take us back, Tony. I understand that you attended Alpha Boy School too?
Yes, that was the beginning.
Tell us about it.
You know, that I ended up in Alpha, but it was a plus for me because what happened there was that I had a chance to go to another school outside just for music, and it was called the Cathedral Choir School. That's where I studied music. So I'm not really one of those who just shut up. Just singing like that. I really studied theoretically music, and from then on, obviously arranging and then also playing the piano and all that sort of thing. And then from there, I started doing at that time in the late 50s. We had Ver Johns was a very entrepreneur that did a lot of shows in Jamaica. Contests. Yes. In different cinemas or theaters at the time. Right. And, I entered and won. But actually, the first time I actually sang solo, I was pushed. I went to the Carib Theater in Kingston, and I was very, very young at the time. I think maybe I was about maybe 9 or something or 10. Anyway, what happened is that I was pushed on stage by my other classmates because in between, we went there to see films, you see, and in between that, they had this little contest with a very famous Jamaican piano player called Frankie Benito. And Virgins was up there, and he asked people from the audience or kids to come up on stage and sing or perform, and they pushed me from my class because they knew maybe that I could sing. So I went up there, and this is impromptu, and you just have to come up with a song, and then the piano player would play it, and I came up with Somewhere Over the Rainbow. That was my first song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, on stage.
Wow.
I sang that, and I won the first prize.
Congratulations,
which was a box of Roses chocolate.
No.
Which, of course, I had to share it with all the classmates, you know what I mean?
It was only about 2-3 weeks ago we had the legendary Lester Sterling from the Scatterlights band here, and he spoke passionately about Alpha Boy School. And Breadman didn't really fully understand what this whole Alpha Boy School was about, because I say to Breadman all the time, this is an institution that turned out a lot of great Jamaicans, and especially the ones who play music. And to know that you were also a part of that great group of guys that went to Alpha Boys School, it's amazing because you lived in Germany for a while, and we're going to talk about that. And we want to know why you chose Germany to be your home for such a long time.
Well,
And,
it was a pure accident. It was pure accident because I was in England in 1971.
Right.
That was my second trip, and I released 2 songs, which was with Trojan Records. One was called "Baby Come On Home," and then another one which I did for Trojan Island, which was called "Who Turned the World Around." Now the thing with "Who Turned the World Around" was also released in Germany.
right.
So then I had to go over to Germany, which would have been my first time, and this was released in 1972.
Wow.
So the beginning of 1972, I was told go over, do a promotional tour with the people in Germany. And I actually drove my car. I mean, went on the ferry and went over to Germany. And where it was totally snowing, it was a lot of snow.
Right.
Which I wasn't having in England at all.
Right.
But anyway, what happened, my car crashed and I ended up in Hamburg. But then I saw the people that I had to see, which was Areola at the time, which is BMG, but it was Areola. And I started to do promotional tour,
And that was it.
Well, but you meet people because it's a different thing. I didn't speak the language at the time, of course. I mean, but you meet people in the music business. When you're on tour, you've seen other people.
Right.
At the different radio stations that you had to go to, and you also did little television shows, regional television shows to highlight the song. So you're also meeting other singers or people who are pushing their artists from different various record companies there, and they realized that I wrote songs.
Right.
That's how it started, and people wanted songs because it was basically regional, national, which was very German,
right,
and they wanted international songs.
Right.
So that's where I sort of accidentally dropped into the pot.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the voice of legendary Jamaican singer Tony Gregory, OD. Here's a song that he did many, many moons ago with his very good friend Marcia, Queen of Reggae Griffiths. Tony Gregory and Marcia Griffiths. It's called You Are Mine. And Anthony, they could have made a very nice couple, And when you listen to the lyrics, we belong together, you are mine. Tony, take us back to to days like these, because this is a part of the foundation of our music. How did you meet Marcia Griffiths and record it?
Let me tell you something. Would you believe that was the first time Marcia ever, she recorded one or two things at Cox. Which was down beach,
Right.
And what happened there was that he didn't really like it. He wanted to burst her, as they say,
right?
Boss her out.
Boss her.
And so he thought a collaboration with me would be a good thing. So the first time she ever recorded and had a song out,
right?
Was with me. I had just had a big hit with "Baby Come On Home,"
right?
then he wanted to really, he thought the idea of putting her together with me would work, and it did. Because that was also a very big hit. But also that's the first time she was singing on record or release, you know. So I'm sort of happy about that. That I was part of that.
Well, a lot of us are very happy about it. And, you know, it's funny because the first time I saw you perform live was when you did that the first staging of Marcia and Friends. And that was the night that we met with Copeland Forbes and the team and decided that this package had to be a part of Groovin' in the Park 2014. But then when we said to Marcia, we name a few people, and two of the people that we dead set that we must have in the package was Mr. Bob Andy and Sister Judy Mowat. And then Marcia came back and says, well, my good friend Tony Gregory, because, you know, people don't know how long we have been friends, and I have known Tony. And, you know, Andrea is a very big fan of Tony Gregory, and she said, boy, when I saw Tony Gregory on the festival, Anthony, it was amazing because you always hear this song Gypsy Girl, but you never see the man behind the song. And when we saw this man in Jamaica, we say he's a young boy, not knowing that this man has been around for so long. We're gonna talk some more about those days, but let me just drop this song, Baby Come On Home. Baby Come On Home. Vintage music this morning with a very popular and legendary Jamaican artist, Tony Gregory.
Sometimes it's so easy to let the simple things fade out of your life. Now you don't pay it much mind because somehow you never really know that you took the one precious jewel who really loves you. Yes, you did. And like a fool, you let her go. I used to take her lips for granted.
Music, Breadman, real music.
All her kisses tasted the same.
You know, Breadman, when you turn your radio on a Sunday evening in Jamaica when I was growing up, and you hear a song like this, you know, say it was an American who did this song. All right, it wasn't any Jamaican. So to hear that it was a Jamaican by the name of Tony Gregory who did a song like this, it makes you feel good to know that we have such greats in our corner. Tony, now that we're playing Baby Come Home, me...
Before we go on, I got to tell you something about that. You know, this is again Coxon. That was... and the musicians that you're hearing in the background are all part of the Scatterlights. And also... The backing singers that were backing me in the track. You know, in those days you used to record on two tracks. You know, the band and singers are on one track and you on the other. So you just one time down.
Right.
And that is the Soulettes, which included Rita Marley. So Rita Marley is there singing.
Wow!
A lot of history, man.
Wow! You know, Tony, I have to ask you this though, because this song is really like an American song. So now it leads me to my next question: musical influence for Tony Gregory, because this certainly sounds like it coming out of the Sam Cooke and those days.
Well, okay, all right. In that, you see, I did my original stuff, which was also very American orientated. But the songs that we got, you know, I mean, at the time, the Jamaican music was just coming about. At that time, we were actually doing, you know, I mean, Coxon brought in these songs. So they were versions. So that is a version, you know, of maybe an American track. He would bring in a track and then say, okay, this song suits your voice. So let's go for it.
Right.
And then we would try and make it as you know, as close to the original as possible.
Right.
But there were really American songs that were brought into Jamaica by Coxon. And a lot of us were singing at the time all these songs. But at the same time, we were also developing our own identity. Hello?
Yes,
Hello.
yes, we're here, Breadman.
Well, I have a question. As far as the most prominent song that I remember, I hear from you all the time is "Gypsy Girl." We've mentioned that already, but I read an article before where it says that you didn't intend on releasing that song. That that song was actually written for another purpose. You
understand? Well, while I was living in Germany, my concentration was on copyright. I also made albums, but my main thing in Europe was publishing, and I wrote songs for different artists. I mean, in different territories in Europe, and they, also, writing an original song and having somebody who may write extra lyrics in that particular language. So I have a lot of music that is done, like in German or in Holland, in France. All that. I have a lot of that. So Gypsy Girl, let me tell you about Gypsy Girl. There was a singer, a German singer, who had a huge hit. And I mean, Germany was a huge market, so selling a million was pretty easy.
Wow.
And he had a big hit. But sometimes it's sheer luck. You have this hit, and now he's looking for the follow-up. Okay? And I wrote this song thinking that maybe he could sing the song.
Right.
When you heard the song, everyone in the company, which is BMG, went crazy. I love this song.
Right.
But he couldn't manage the song.
Really?
So really, what I do, I do demos. I would go into the studio and say, he wants some song. I wrote a few songs. I went in there and I made these as demos.
Right.
So Gypsy Girl is really a demo.
Oh, really?
It is really a demo. It's not a production. But the story gets even better. I then went to, he couldn't handle the song. He said no. But there was another song that he sang from the bunch of songs that I had that he thought was better for his voice, but he couldn't handle Gypsy Girl. I went on one of my annual trips to Jamaica and I had the tape with me. With Gypsy Girl. So then I went to Dynamic Sounds, the Byron Lee company, and said, here, I have this song. Why don't you release this song? Because I think this song could do well in Jamaica.
Right.
And they said, no, man, this gone up and down, This is reggae business now and all that. This number could never happen down here.
You're kidding me.
Me down.
Wow.
So then I went to the brother who has a Sonic Sounds.
Sonic Sounds.
And Sonic said, no, man, this can't happen. They all said, no, man,
Wow.
So I said, you know what? Because I was only in Jamaica for 2 weeks. I said, but release the thing. I already pay for whatever the situation is. And, it's on me, But just release it,
Okay.
So then I flew back to Europe. And in 2 weeks, I mean, they always had pressed immediately and then put it to the radio station, Well, I was paid. No, that makes a big difference. So it was at the radio station,
Wow.
And in 2 weeks,
they call you.
In 2 weeks, well, not in 2 weeks, I would say a week and a half, he called me up and said, you can't believe what's going on here in Jamaica.
Song boss.
The song, people just started requesting the song on the radio, everything. They were bombarded with requests from all the radio stations.
Tony, as they say, the song boss.
The song boss. And,
Wow.
I said, well, it's a lucky thing that I really did believe in the song.
Yes.
And in fact, I've had 20, 30 versions of the song.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Wow. It's amazing.
In many parts of the world. It was rather interesting the other day to go online in Facebook and saw a band in Fiji, a police band in Fiji.
Doing the song?
Performing Gypsy Girl.
Playing the song.
You're kidding me.
They made a I thought, these Fiji, they wear these short skirts type of thing, right?
Yeah.
And they're sitting there with this band playing Gypsy Girl.
Wow.
You see, you almost deprived us.
I thought that made my day.
It's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, legendary recording artist out of Jamaica. Yeah, man, you know him as Mr. Gypsy Girl, but he has a lot of things. Anthony, when we come back, we're going to talk to Mr. Gregory about, he just mentioned how, he actually studied the whole thing about this music thing. And the publishing and the copyright, and some people don't have it down. Seems to me that Mr. Tony Gregory has it all patterned down. Definitely. This one is called My Darling. Tony Gregory for Mic Check this morning. Keelan, I hope you're listening. Morning to Earl Moody and the team from Moody's Record.
I really do, and hope that you love me too. I wish each day I could be with you and make our dreams come true.
Tony, I want to ask you one more question before we go up to the top of the hour, because your catalog of music is a catalog of love music. Was there any particular lady you were singing about?
All ladies.
Or this was just all the ladies in your life? Because you do a lot of love songs, man.
Well, that was one of the first songs I released and wrote,
Mm-hmm.
My Darling.
1964 this was, Rainbow Record.
Well, yeah, that was my label too.
Mm-hmm.
I was very early doing this thing,
Wow. How did you gravitate to the business side of it so early? How?
Well, because I was with Byron Lee,
Mm-hmm.
and I did one single with the band,
Mm-hmm.
and then I wanted to do another single, and he was putting me off. And I was determined.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to get a backer and go and record this song, My Darling, because I thought the song was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I didn't really have a lot of musicians, so I got 3 really good musicians coming out of Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie Butler on piano.
Mm-hmm.
There's something Dawes on bass, I don't remember the short thing again, and also Carl McLeod on drums.
Mm-hmm.
Which are very, these guys play a bit of jazz and all that.
Right.
Because if you listen to the B-side, which was Motherless Child, you would see that there's a jazz influence in there. Anyway, doing this song with a trio was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, it burst too. I mean, it really burst, this track. Byron was very upset because I didn't use his musician. And in fact, we fell out.
Wow.
Really?
Over that.
Wow.
That I said, okay, let's part company. After 3 years, we part company because I had asked him, and he kept putting it off, and so I ended up going and doing it myself.
Just like those who refuse Gypsy Girl, and you put it out there.
Oh, yes,
it's
the same thing. And it's funny, the same people who refuse Gypsy Girl too. It was actually his son, and Byron was very upset with the son that he
Right.
Byron was a very incredible individual. He does all sorts of strange things. He would put the radio when Gypsy Girl was playing into his son's bedroom and turn it up loud because he was
You see what you do?
You see what you create? Tony Gregory, stay right where you are. The computer's about to take over. When we come back after the 11 o'clock hour, we'll continue our mic check conversation with the one and only Mr. Tony Gregory.
In the glory of the sky, the stars shine bright above. But those that glisten in your eyes outshine them all, my love. The beauty of your lovely eyes watching the moon above. Please listen to my helpless sighs till you return.
Breadman, make myself your lively, not a dead man.